Hi, Ange.
Right.
Could you get the team news, please, and then obviously the latest on Maddison and Sonny?
From last week, Brandon will miss out. He's something too serious, but he won't be right for this week. Matters and Sonny trained today. They just finished the session and seemed to get through it not too bad, but we'll just have to see how they pull up because, fair to say that they're still a bit sore after last week and have a disrupted week training. So it's just a matter of seeing how they pull up now.
I mean, both have been incredible, haven't they, to start the season?
Yeah, they've been good. Yeah, no, they've been very good, and they've really sort of both on and off the field, along with Romero, have driven the lads to try and maintain a level of performance, every week.
A lot of people on the outside said, we'll see where Spurs are after the North London derby. It could be a hide in the way they go and play. And then that result, and I saw some of the players leaving, they actually wanted to get 3 points in the end. It says a lot about this young group. How proud are you of them? It's such an early stage.
Yeah, look, from that perspective, absolutely. I think I said after the game, that's all player-driven. It's got nothing to do with me. They're the ones that are sort of embracing what we're doing, and they were. It wasn't euphoric in the dressing rooms by any stretch. It was, we knew it was going to be a tough game, and Arsenal have already shown they're going to be a force this year, and they played well last week and had their moments in the game, but we felt like we more than held our own, and the lads were disappointed we couldn't finish it off. So it's a good indicator that where they're at and what where their ambitions lie, and it's up to me and sort of the other coaches to keep sort of providing that platform and environment for them to keep pushing on and seeing what levels they can reach.
It's a packed room, so I'll be really quick, but Son, you must be so proud. You made him club captain, but he's such a great ambassador for this football club as well. Going forward, do you just see him essential to anything you do?
Yeah, but fair to Sonny, I think he always has been for this football club. He hasn't needed sort of the armband to show the love he has for the football club, to have the respect of his peers, both within this club and outside, Tottenham. But obviously, he feels a real responsibility, particularly with Harry gone and obviously Hugo not being involved as much now. That he's the senior, he's the elder statesman, and he wants both with his performances and his behaviours to try and help this young group of players, as you said, because it wasn't long ago he was the young one and he got the guidance and the kind of protection needed for any young player coming into a big football club. So he's been great, and I think there's more to come from him.
I'll be very quick. I know you take a lot from other sports. Have you enjoyed the start of the Ryder Cup?
Yeah, I had it on in the background. Obviously, I don't have a vested interest with Australia, and fair to say Greece is not a bastion of elite golf either. We do all right in the tennis. Obviously, quite a few of the lads in there are all over it, so we've had it in the background. And if I had to lean one way, I'd be with a European, so I'm happy.
Thanks, Ange.
Alex.
Hi, Ange.
Hey.
So Liverpool tomorrow. They're currently on the longest unbeaten run of all the sides in Europe's major leagues. How highly do you rate them and their manager?
Yeah, look, very highly. Obviously, they've been a very good football team, for a while now, and obviously they fell off the pace a little bit last year. But the elements of who they are as a football team have always been there, and it's a great test for us tomorrow because they kind of bring something different to probably any other team in the league in the way they play and the manner in which they go about things, and it'll be a really good test for us of again trying to impose our football on a team that as I said, fairly unique in the way they play the game. And Jurgen's he's an outstanding manager. He's one of these managers, I think, that fair to say that has made an impact on the competition, not just his club. Because when he came in with the way Liverpool went about things, I think he challenged quite a few of the conventions about the Premier League and sort of introduced a new style of play that others have followed now. So he's an outstanding manager, and as I said, it's a great test for us for where we are at the moment in terms of our development.
I know you were a Liverpool fan growing up. You've ripped the posters down now, you said, but born in Greece and growing up in Melbourne, why Liverpool? Why did you choose Liverpool?
Well, it was the 70s, so you kind of went one or two ways. Seemed that they only used to show Liverpool or Man U at the time. So, a couple of my best mates went for Man U, so I went the other way so that we could keep it interesting. And, look, I like any kid, I had the posters up on my wall and, Liverpool was my team. And, but, you grow up and things change. I used to love Happy Days back there too, but I don't have posters of Fonzie on my wall either. So it's just the way life is.
Just finally, quite a few of the players here have recently described you as a dad to them. Do you like them describing you as a dad?
I don't know what that means. It's probably a reference to the way that I dress or the way I conduct myself. I don't know what that means. Look, I think we, in our role, we provide sort of, support in any way we can for the players. They're the most important people. And, some of that is guidance. I am older. I've had more life experience and, whatever I can pass on about the mistakes I've made and the things I've learned in life, apart from football, then you try and do that. And ultimately it's about guiding them, to try and sort of be the best they can be. And, I don't know what sort of, point of reference they refer to, but if it's, me sort of being a little bit of a guide to them in all aspects of life, then I'll try and do that. Like I said, I have the benefit of experience, and that the mistakes I've made, as I said, and all the things I've learned, I guess it's upon every generation to pass them on to the next one, and hopefully they make everything a better place.
Thanks. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
That's George, please.
Angelo, as someone who had a fantasy football team last season, should I put James Maddison in my football team tomorrow?
No, you can do whatever you like. Zero interest to me.
You're not biting on that one, fair enough. Just on James Maddison, I spoke to him after the game last week and he said that Tottenham have lost the Spursy tag. And I just wondered, after 6 games, how you felt as your player sort of feels like he's turned the corner, that they've lost that tag. They had a bit of a reputation as bottlers in previous times gone by.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I haven't heard exactly what Matt has said, but he's obviously new to the club, and he's probably going on what he's feeling at the moment. And it's fair to say the lads have shown a fair bit of resilience this year. We've had to, just the nature of the way the games have gone. We've had a lot of things that sort of, in the context of a football game, haven't gone our way right from the first game. We a fair bit going on in the first 45 minutes. But the players have all sort of reacted really well to that. I mean, I think sometimes these things, can become a little bit overblown in that, obviously opposition supporters are looking for any kind of, sore point that a football club may have. But, this club's been up the top of the table for quite a while now, got very close to almost having the ultimate success in the Champions League. So, it's far from being a club that, has been sort of fallen on bad times for a long time. Obviously, there's a crucial bit missing there, and every group of players, myself included, we have the opportunity to change that.
Just in terms of Liverpool and this game, I mean, they're playing really well, you're playing really well under the lights tomorrow. I mean, just potentially it's got all the elements of being an absolutely brilliant game between two good sides, isn't it, from your point of view?
Yeah, I thought similar to last week, Arsenal were in good form, and, we were in good form, and ended up being a decent game of football, I thought, fairly high quality, and you're looking for that tomorrow. The real emphasis, like I said, for us at the moment is it has to be about our own development. Can we impose our style of football against another top-class opponent that played differently to last week's opponent? How much of ourselves can we show? The more we go through these tests and show ourselves, I think it gives us, that belief to keep going down this road and accelerating the growth. But look, and we're at home. I mean, not a small incidental thing, but we've had 7 official games so far, including Carabao Cup. We've only had 2 at home, and that shows a fair bit of resilience from this group, that we've really come through that period. with a really strong level of performance and results. So being at home tomorrow, I think it's will help us in that sense as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
George, just to Liam, please. Thanks.
Hey, Ange. You talk a lot about your football journey, and I saw a clip today of when you were on Santo, Sam and Ed, and you were with South Melbourne, and you talked about getting to the World Club Championships, and you went to a field in Fiji, and there was frogs all on that pitch there. Are you able to share that experience, and also what is it like now to contrast what those days were to now hosting your boyhood club?
Yeah, it's all right, mate. It's all part of it. Like I said, I've had a fairly unique journey, and when you do, there are stories you collect along the way, and it's all part of sort of what made me as a person. And it gives you a good perspective when, people see me working at this level. It hasn't always been, having the best of everything at my disposal, but I enjoyed every minute of it. We played. At the time, it was the first World Club Championship, and I think, I could be wrong, but there was about $4 million US on offer there for the team that qualified from our region. Now that's about 100 times our budget that year, I reckon. And to decide the contest we had to play on a field that was had a fair few amphibians on it, and we had to navigate, but we did it and we got there, and it's all part of the journey. And I've loved that part of my sort of career where I've experienced so many different things. It's obviously meant that I haven't got to here till a very late stage in my career, but I wouldn't swap any of it because all of it is, like I said, they're great stories and great memories shared with great people.
And the other one is, wherever you've gone, seemed to have brought in a lot of Australian ex-players who haven't got that sort of go in management. So you had Muskie and Yokohama, and then Kuehl in Celtic, and now Millie Ednack here. Why do you do that? Do you see that as a role? It's harder for Australian managers to break through, and you want to give them that opportunity?
Yeah, look, some of it. Again, some of it's just, like I said, a reflection of my own sort of career, and reflecting on that. If people didn't open doors for me and give me an opportunity, I wouldn't be where I am today. And it's not always easy to get those opportunities. And obviously, pretty well chronicled it coming from, say, a country like Australia or Asia, or a non-traditional sort of footballing background. It is harder to get these opportunities, and I've tried to open doors, but all I do is, like I said, open the door, and then the rest is up to them. And with Kev's done an outstanding job, or like I said, Harry at Celtic, or now Millie. They don't get sort of special treatment. It's just me opening a door for them, and then the rest is up to them. And I've been really fortunate that I've had good people around me because of that.
Charlie?
Just wondered, this Liverpool team and Klopp and what he's done, if that acts a little bit as a reference point to where your Spurs team are. I mean, he's got them to where they are mainly through coaching and improving the players. And just wondered what you've taken from him and this Liverpool team.
Look, I think, not just with them, I think I said last week, when you look at them or kind of Arsenal, or, even you look at Brighton now, there's a plan there that they've kind of stuck to, and it hasn't brought short-term success by any means if you look at the trajectory of those teams, but they've believed in something, and then they've sort of allowed that to grow because they believe that that's the way that they were going to get to success. Now they all have a different way of doing it, and all with different managers at different sort of levels of experience, but there are definite lessons there, and that's not a recent thing. I think you looked at over the course of time that teams that dominate over an extended period usually have some form of plan or ideology they follow, and they stick to it. But it's not easy because short-term results, if they don't come, can mean pressure and can mean scrutiny, and sometimes some clubs buckle under that, but the ones that stick to it, I think, usually feel they're sticking to it for a reason. And I think Liverpool, even though probably the short-term success didn't come straight away, they could see with Jurgen and what he was building that if they backed it, that they'd get to reap the rewards, and that's what they've done.
And you mentioned the uniqueness of Liverpool. Could you just expand on that, about what is it that makes them such a sort of different team from everyone else?
I just think that, I think from when they sort of, when Jurgen and sort of came into the league and the way they set up, just the tempo intensity of which they played, both offensively and defensively, was another level. I mean, the Premier League's always been sort of a fairly high tempo league, but I thought they took it to another level. And at times it looked almost chaotic, but you could see there was a plan behind it, and it's very hard to cope with. And he had that at Dortmund. I followed Dortmund because I was national team boss, and one of our goalkeepers, Mitch Langerak, was at Dortmund at the time. He wasn't the number one keeper, but he played a fair bit of football, with Jurgen at Dortmund, an outstanding young keeper. And I used to follow Dortmund. You could see back then that it's very, very similar in the way they played. And I could see he was an outstanding manager. Actually, he won't remember it, but he rang me to sort of back up, Mitch, that he was a top keeper even though he wasn't playing him. And I just thought, well, he obviously cares about his players because he's reached out to me to make sure that I was aware, and I was already aware that he was an outstanding keeper. But yeah, you can see he's invested in his players and the way they play.
I just wanted to ask you as well, I don't know if you're aware, but Spurs have launched fan tokens this week with Socios. There's been a bit of a backlash from the fans who think it's exploitative. I just wondered if there's anything you could or wanted to say on that.
Nah, mate, I mean, firstly, I've got no idea what you're talking about. And secondly, I just don't, I've never felt it's my place. I mean, I'd hate to think that there was a football matter and we'd get the head of commerce or the commercial area or the marketing area to come and answer those questions. I mean, it would be absolutely disrespectful for me. And there are plenty of good forums for that to be discussed, and I'm not going to be involved in that, mate.
Ali, please.
Hi, Ange. Yves Bissouma had a terrific start to the season, obviously. He has also picked up 3 yellow cards in his first 6 matches. Obviously, that means I think he can only go another 13 matches just getting 1 yellow card. Is that something he has to manage himself, or do you speak to him about that, or can you take that out of his game?
No, look, I think, sometimes those things are just, consequences of game state and the way things are going. I've never worried about talking to players about that area of it. If they're picking up sort of needless, and if it's around dissent and things like that, then potentially you have a word to him, because obviously he's become a really important part of what we do, and we don't want him missing games. But there's certainly nothing there at the moment for me to sort of specifically address him about it. I think he plays in an area of the park where there's a lot of action, and he's involved in all of it, which is brilliant for us. And I'd hate for me to say something that kind of curtails that, because it's a big part of sort of the way the team's set up.
Brian Hill seems to be back in some form of training at the moment. I know you haven't seen much of him since you've been here, but can you see where he will fit within your team?
Yeah, like I said, he's been a bit unfortunate in that, pretty much from the start of pre-season, he's had a couple of injuries that hasn't allowed him to train with the team. But he had a good year last year away from here, and he certainly plays in a position where guys with his attributes can certainly fit into our structure. So it'll be good to see Brian sort of get up to speed over the next sort of couple of weeks training with the team. And then obviously with Ivan going down, we're kind of one down in those wide areas. So having him at the club is certainly going to be beneficial.
This last one from me. Sorry, I was going to ask you. Rodrigo Bentancur, he's been back in training, kind of an increasing amount of training that he's had. Is he still on track for where you felt November, or is he pushing to get a little bit closer?
No, he's no change. I mean, all Rodrigo is doing at the moment is kind of warm-ups with the team, so he's not doing it on his own, but he hasn't participated in any sort of training, meaningful training yet.
Thank you.